Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the very dark comedy, The Death of Stalin, which this is from Armando Iannucci, who apparently wrote the show Veep, and also did the film In the Loop, which actually is one of my favorite hidden gems that I happen to pass upon because I was looking up Oscar nominations and saw that this film was nominated for original screenplay, and I checked it out. It was absolutely hilarious. This crazy British comedy, and like lampooning like politics and lobbyists and all that kind of stuff. So it was very interesting seeing this director and writer, who he did write this along with like three other people, taking on this idea of all the men in Stalin's cabinet fighting for control after Stalin's dead, and they're all bickering like a bunch of goofballs, and but really dark points, and it really hits in so many different ways. And Iannucci does such a great job with this film where he's able to balance this really dark topics of executions and murdering people, and this whole idea of how Stalin ran all of Russia in fear, with this bumbling, goofy, slapstick, and sharp back and forth between all these characters. And Iannucci, I think the biggest thing he's able to do with this film is balancing that tone perfectly, where this really does work. And you get those dark moments, you get those really funny moments, and it really hits. And this film never drags. It has such a great pacing to it and energy that just keeps driving the story, and actually really builds up a lot of intrigue into it, and you're really trying to wonder how this is all going to play out, because there's a lot of people playing against each other, playing with each other against each other, and playing with others against those people against each other, and it could potentially get really hard to follow. But Iannucci does such a great job of balancing all these characters and these ideas and these stories into one cohesive great film. And The Death of Stalin is really an accomplishment, being able to balance all those different kinds of things into one cohesive unit. And in terms of this, deals with a lot of different kinds of things, political intrigue and all that backstabbing and bureaucracies and all of the backhand, behind the curtain kinds of political games that people play to gain power, and it's still very relevant today. And this film is really well shot by Zach Nicholson, and there's quite a few shots in this film that are very well done, and how the shots were made to make some of the violence most effective, or when to cut away to know that you didn't need to see that but it still hits the impact, and just how some of the shots linger on long enough to catch some kind of physical gag. And it really works. The camera works so well, matching with the actors and what they're doing, to create a lot of humor throughout this film. And what Iannucci and the rest of the writers are able to do here is make a very interesting layered story about all these different characters, all their relationships, and how they interact with each other, and are able to create such an intriguing thing from start to finish, and where this is going to go. And I know that I was always interested the whole entire way. And these characters, there's so many crazy characters with so many layers and different kinds of motives between Khrushchev and Malenkov, and Beria is such a frightening character in this film, and they're all balanced in all their different ways against each other, and great chemistry together, but how they all line up against each other. And there's just so many memorable characters in this film, whether it's Stalin's children, his daughter, or his son, and all the shenanigans that go on here. And it's so sharply written. Some of the shots that some of these characters take at each other are so great and so on point, and just such great writing. And that is definitely one of the strongest things that this film has going for it, is Iannucci's writing, and that's definitely one of his strengths. And these performances, Steve Buscemi does such a great job in one of the closer to be leading roles in this film, as Khrushchev, but Simon Russell Beale, who plays Beria, is so fantastic and disgusting and despicable and hilarious and just such an asshole throughout this film, and just like evil on different levels, and him trying to play one thing against each other, and he is so great in this film and breaks great things. My favorite supporting performance, though, is Jason Isaacs, who brings power and charisma and aggression to this role as the leader of the Russian army, and he's so great in this, and he steals every scene he's in. Michael Palin, what a pleasure seeing him on screen again, and he was one of the more charming, kind of low-key performances throughout the film. And then Jeffrey Tambor does a great job as the new deputy after Stalin, and I believe it was Malenkov, who is so spineless and just like listening to one character and then taking charge on some dim-witted stuff. And just what they're able to do in this film, and all these performances with this great writing, this great steady hand of direction. Honestly, nothing really stuck out as something that I would take away from this film. This definitely shot towards the top of my favorite films of this year, probably sitting right below Annihilation as of right now. I highly recommend going to see Death of Stalin, which I give an A+.